Or do you not want it recorded? Do you care if I record it?
Yeah, I felt that the Lord was calling me to share my testimony too today. Hold on. And I did not plan on doing this, but I know that I have to. So I guess I'd like to start with a small prayer, so I won't say anything that the Lord doesn't want me to say. Lord, I thank you for this day here. Thank you that you've talked to us in so many ways already. I ask you that you help me not to do this, to only say what I need to say, and to say everything that I need to say. And please be with us. Amen. Yeah, we heard a few testimonies this week already, and mine is not as crazy as most other people's are. I can thank the Lord for that. That's not my own doing. And I guess I'll share a little bit about myself. I was born in Germany and raised there too. I lived in the first 50 years of my life. That's also where it all starts. And my father, most of you know him, John Enns. And those who know that he is a real Christian, and that's how I knew him all the time too. He's always been a preacher in the church, not just the church, even like in other churches. He was a well-respected man. And I was proud of my father. And I tried to be a good guy. I had to be a good guy because if I wouldn't be, people would respect him as much anymore because he couldn't raise his son right. So I had to, there was kind of this pressure on me, I had to do what is right. And for a boy, that is very hard to do. So I learned how to be a hypocrite very early on. And I don't know how old I was, probably like the first time that I thought I gave my life to Christ, it was all about feelings, it wasn't really a serious decision. Must have been 10 years old or so, something like that. And I tried out of my own strength, it never worked. People who have tried that know that you can't do anything out of your own strength. And so the years passed by, and I went very far off in church, and every time there were believers around, I pretended that everything was good. But really there was nothing, it was all just dead, it was just pretending. And I couldn't really live like that, I didn't want to live like that, I just wanted to go all the way like I wanted to go, but something held me back. And I also got serious troubles with pornography right early on. A big part of that is that in Germany, in the school system, I had to watch movies in school. I think I was in 7th grade where there were scenes, like porn scenes in there, in school. We are very blessed that it's not in the Canadian schools yet. And we have to pray that that never happens. But I got introduced to it very early on. It stuck with me for a long time, I could not get free of it. I never told anyone, I thought, nobody knew it, and I don't know how long that actually nobody knew it. I did not have a phone, so I could not just do it, I could just watch it whenever I wanted. But my brother, he had a tablet, and sometimes I just took that one and just watched whatever I wanted. It was not the good stuff. So I was a hypocrite, pretended everything was fine in church, but really nothing was good. And then when I turned 15, we moved to Canada. Well, half a year later we moved to Canada, and here I didn't even try to pretend because people didn't know me. So I just lived whatever I wanted to do, that's what I did. In school I started swearing. I think I was, in the whole school I was the guy that swore the most. It was just every second word was a swear word. And if you live like that, you can't just keep it in school. So it happened that I was swearing in front of my parents. And Dad looked at me and I knew he was very, very bad. But I just, at that point I couldn't change it anymore. And then when I was 16, there was a few evenings in our church and people were called to repent, and I did that too, and this time I was serious about it. I wanted to start a new life. And I thought I was born again, but I never was really actually sure about it. I thought I was, but I didn't have the insurance within me. But I knew that I had to know it to actually be born again. So I pretended I was born again. I got baptized too, and I was serious about the baptism. I knew what it meant, like that you died with Christ and were raised with Him. And everything in my head, I knew everything what it meant. I knew the meaning of the gospel. I knew that you have to die with Christ, and if you ask Him for forgiveness, He does forgive you. But I never had the insurance. I knew it in my head, but not in my heart. That connection was always really hard for me to get. So I was in church then. I was a member of the church once I got baptized. And I think for 2 years, or maybe 1 year, I don't know the exact time, I just lived life trying to be a good church member. And through God's grace, for about half a year after the baptism, I didn't have any temptations called pornography. But then it started hitting me back. And the Bible verse that says that there's a demon in you, and it gets driven out, and then it comes back and sees the heart empty. That's how I was. And then it came back 7 times worse than it was before. And I had serious troubles with that. I couldn't talk to anyone about it. My father didn't understand me. I talked about it once. He never had any troubles with addictions, so he didn't know how to help me. That was always a taboo topic in church. Nobody talked about it. I didn't know where I could get help. And God took me to school too. It was right at that time where I had to do my driver's licenses. And usually in school I was a really good learner. I was never challenged in school. Theoretical stuff, I just can't do it like that. I never had any issues. Well, this was different. God took me to school and I was a hard learner. I failed 7 road tests before I actually listened to what he had to say. And every guy knows if you fail 7 road tests, that's very bad. Like, you can't go anywhere, people look at you. But I had to go through that. God took me through that, and Dad once told me, Matthias, you can't go through life like this. Because there's a reason. Before I was born, my dad prayed over me that I serve the Lord. And I couldn't just do what other boys could do. It wouldn't let me go. So I hated it. I wished that Dad would not have prayed over me. I wish I could just live my life the way I wanted to, without God holding me back. But I'm thankful that He did nowadays. I see that was, if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be here today, I know that. So God's grace didn't let me go. And I just kept living for a while, never listening to God. Being a church member, trying to understand the Bible, I was reading it. I was just holding on to everything that I knew I was supposed to do. But there was no real life within me. And then, 2 years ago at New Year, I think it was New Year's, Alex gave me a challenge to read the Bible in a month. And at first I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want to put that much time and effort into reading the Bible, but then I accepted it. And I told Martha about it. We were dating then. And she started one day after me. No, we weren't dating yet. We just got to know each other. And we just texted on and off a little bit, and I told her what kind of challenge Alex gave me. And then she thought, yeah, I'll do that too. So we kind of talked about what we read every day, and it's 40 chapters a day. It's like 2 hours of reading the Bible that you can't do it in this. I tried, I couldn't. But I was halfway through the Bible. I was not quite halfway, I was at Job, and then I read that one verse, and there it said, where Job says, I know that my Redeemer lives. And that was when I was born again. That's when I got the knowledge that I was saved. And I told Martha about it, but I couldn't just keep quiet. And it was just amazing. We kept reading all the way through. And I had serious thoughts, so I was gonna ask her out, but I knew I could not ask her out until I said everything how it was in my life. And you don't want to tell a girl what's going on if you haven't gotten a yes yet. But I knew I had to, otherwise I couldn't start. So I did that, and thanks to God's grace, she said yes, she would date me. And if that I still had struggles with pornography. I didn't watch it then for 3 months, but then I fell back and I couldn't get out again. But I really prayed that before we got married, I was free of it. And I constantly had to come back and tell her I sinned again. This is what I did again. It's so hard. Your future wife, and you have to show that you are just the worst person there is. That you aren't even faithful before the marriage. It was really hard for me, but I knew I had to, otherwise I would not get free. And thanks to God's grace, I was free before we got married. And I wish always that this would not have happened, that I wouldn't have to go through that time. But now, I've shared that testimony once in youth. Other than that, I've never shared it public in some conversations I have, but not when kids were around, that's for sure. And I never wanted to go through it, but once I shared it the first time, I knew why I had to go through. Because in our church, there was nobody where you could come to somebody and talk about it. And I told my testimony in youth, and one youth boy after the other one comes in and tells me, I struggle with that too. Now I can help those people. And it's really sad to see how men nowadays are captured by this. And how many are living this life. They are not free. They know it's a sin, but they can't do anything against it. And the devil has reigned as long as you keep it secret. And then these boys grew up being hypocrites. And they're really good at being it. So was I too. And nothing helps them. And they can't talk to anyone about it. That's the worst. So when I started sharing it with the boys here and there, I could start helping them. And it's thanks to God's grace. I never wanted to go through it, but now I know that I had to. Otherwise I could not help others. And that's only to God's glory. Amen.